It's going to be the Yeti. Okay, now we should have sound. We're going to make sure that that's going across. It's going to be the Yeti. Okay, now we should have sound. Okay, so we're going to wait for the rest here, however many or however few there are, doesn't matter. Hopefully hopefully we'll have a much better live stream this time, because I honestly believe that there's something wrong with the other machine, and I'm not seeing any choppiness whatsoever. So please take a moment to grab yourselves a drink, settle in, scratch your whatever, and I shall be right back. I wish I had some music to play or something. Um, that won't get me kicked off of YouTube, but I don't have any. You know what? Let me find. Let's see here. YouTube. This is not what I wanted to see. This is not where I'm supposed to be. YouTube. Let's see. Finally, the case we've been waiting for. Gadgets, guns and gadgets. This is Utopia. The roaming prepper. Crisis intelligence. Do these things before the election. 3 hours. All right, you know what? We'll turn this fool on real quick.
The slide, hopefully we're up and running. All right, fantastic. Well, thanks again, everyone, for being here. It's great to see so many people.
I gotta find a screen
here in the chat
to do stuff with.
I want to thank you for being here, especially on such short notice. Whether the stock market thing blows over or blows up, what I'll be teaching you tonight is going to be relevant either way. It's useful regardless of what scenario we're dealing with. Maybe it's Israel, Iran, it's the coming November elections and the fallout, the transfer of power, it's NATO, Russia, US, China, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We really have an incredible gamut of challenges coming up pretty much for the rest of this decade. And, you know, if we don't, we might not hit them all, but we're going to hit at least one of them. So I want to start off tonight just with a brief detour, because I want to tell you a story about something that happened to us last weekend. As some of you know, I run a multi-county preparedness network, and I'll talk a lot more about that later. But in short, it's a group of preppers and homesteaders, concerned citizens, whatever they want to call themselves. But one major thing that we have in common is we all have families and we all have a lot of concern for the future. And so this past Saturday, we had our monthly meeting. And for 2 hours, normally we only go 1 hour. For 2 hours, everyone stayed there and we discussed national and strategic threats. So we're talking about big picture stuff, like this Israeli-Iranian war, which may fizzle out to nothing. I don't know. Potential fallout over November elections, the transfer of power in January. Fingers crossed on that one. I don't know. War with China, the prospect of losing a world war. We talked about that for quite a while. And our purpose was not to war game this stuff. We weren't trying to figure out results. We're trying to figure out, how does this impact us locally? How does this impact us in our community? And it was really good. We got a lot of involvement. Everyone was engaged, talking about all the follow-on effects of X happens, and then Y happens, and then Z happens, and we actually feel Z in our communities. And I'll tell you, that's the stuff we got to be preparing for. We can't get hung up around the axle on what's going on between the United States and China, because we really can't prepare for that. No one is preparing for hyperinflation or an EMP or the next pandemic. We're really preparing for the effects of those things. And if we're not preparing for the local effects, the local follow-on, the trickle down, the second, third, fourth, fifth order effects of these big strategic problems, then I dare say that someone is not prepared if you're not preparing for those specific effects that happen at the local level. So if someone were to ask me what I'm preparing for, I really can boil it down here to one overarching thing, and that is America as we know it has already kind of ended. The America we grew up in is no longer the America that we have, the United States. And I hate to be a doomer, because I do see all these posts about turbo America, and the United States is just, it's going to come raging back any day now. We're on the verge of this national renaissance. And I hope those people are right, but I am very doubtful about those scenarios. And that's one thing I want to talk to you about tonight. The conclusion that I arrived at a long time ago was that my bug out bag in a closet of food and water is not going to cut it for the emergencies that we're about to get into this decade. Those things are going to help, but that is only sustainment. That is only going to get me into tomorrow. That was my big conclusion that I arrived at probably 5 or 6 years ago, that a bug out bag is just not going to cut it. Because really, a bug out bag is a tactical solution. That's going to help you get into tomorrow, but it's not going to win the war, metaphorically speaking. So we need to be working on some strategic solutions, because we're going to have some major strategic problems. And so the three things that I've been working on and have been teaching people about and encouraging everyone to work on as well are: number one, an area study; number two, building a local intelligence network; and then number three, developing your real-time intelligence gathering capabilities, your collection capabilities, because we are going to need a lot of things in the future, and these three things are absolutely indispensable here. There's a very good chance that we are going to experience three major changes by the end of this decade. And it's impossible to tell what's going to happen 5 years from now.
All right, so before we go any further, guys, one, I want to say hello to everybody who has shown up here. I'm operating on a limited screens, so things are going to look a little wonky, but it looks as if the doing the live stream from my regular streaming computer is working much better. It's much more like no choppy, that kind of things, like what we've been dealing with in the past, which is super cool. So it looks like we've got Dog and Ball here. We got Cool Colt, Bradley's in the house, Catitude, Light Raider, and you guys, Bradley, you're just you're like chatty Cathy. I'm still working on three fingers of actually, is this two fingers? No, three fingers of apple brandy. It's the good stuff. 11.96 at the local ABC, and it is unbelievable. It's like no other drink I've ever had in my life. It's easy to put down. Oh yeah. Oh, just it's got just enough bite. That was actually more than I expected. I'm on the fly here. Gotcha. Hey, sorry, dumb autocorrect. Howdy, Light Raider. Gotcha. So like I said, it's good to see you guys in here. No real current updates. I haven't had a chance to look to see who's looked at it or not, but you guys did get your own video today talking a little bit about um, basically talks of World War III and economic crisis and things like this. And you're even seeing with Forward Observer, who I'm not a fan of. I don't like the guy. I've actually talked to him in the past, and he basically shut up, boomer. And once you do that to somebody, it's hard to go back. It's hard to go back. But um, he's building what he's building based off of his time in the uh, in the military service as an intelligence. They call themselves analysts, but basically he's a clerk. He was a clerk. Anyway, so he's interesting to listen to. So if you guys want to continue to do that, we can. But yeah, Colt, the threat board. Yeah, I'm trying to come up with a way to do that again, and then basically make that's going to be a members only video type thing, where because it takes work to build that threat analysis, and that's just one more thing that I now have to do. So I'm trying to come up with a way to do that makes it very easy for me to do, and then relay that information to you guys. Um, I do find it funny though, because every time I think of the threat board, I don't think about the fact that I've been doing it for like 3 years. I think about the fact that it keeps showing up on Bear Independent. But I don't mind. I like Bear. I like TJ. I've never met him before. Hopefully, I'll get a chance to meet him in October when I go to Kentucky. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Let's see here. But yeah, we can continue to listen to some of this if you'd like, but it is what it is. Ah, Big Prepper showed up. What's up? I watch a guy like that, S2 Underground, a good day information with his intelligence wires. Yeah. But you got to remember, guys. So when you listen to these intelligence people that are on the internet, um, they uh, they're using what they call OSINT. You know, it's basically open source intelligence, and they are creating their own open source intelligence by making YouTube videos. So where did they get their information? Are they regurgitating more YouTube video? Are they regurgitating something that they read? Do they have a super secret source that they're using? And the answer is no. There is a place to go to get some intelligence information, but I hesitate in telling you guys where that is because those computers do get flagged for reading those things. They are completely available. If you want access to them, there's nothing to it. You let me know in a personal message, and I will send you a link, and you can go look at that stuff. But it's really nothing more than news you could find anyplace else if you just did the homework yourself. So um, let's see. Right now, it looks like we got 6 people in here. It's so hard to tell sometimes the way this thing is set up. And this, I shouldn't be complaining because you know that it's working. We're not all jammed up here. I can actually like watch a video if I want to. We're not all jammed up. Um, what I need to do is move the video over there, and then all right. So I'm gonna make this hurt a little bit. This is gonna hurt a little bit. So I'm gonna go ahead and move. Where is this? We're gonna move. Do I have like more than one thing open here? What is this? This is that's the actual view. Okay. I've got this all twisted up, guys. I've got this all twisted up. So let's see. We're gonna put that there and this. I need 3 screens and I only have 2. So it's a pain in the buttocks. Um, All right. So it looks like someone else just came in. He's my go-to for radios and alternative communications. Oh yeah, S2 is they do have their trash in one bag. So I'm not saying they're not good. I'm just saying remember they're getting their intelligence from the same place that you could go get it. Okay? They're forming their analysis based off of their experience, but this is also something that you could develop yourself. So just be aware, there's no magic to what they're showing us. But yeah, I am going to be bringing back the threat board, and somehow I'm going to update it so that it's easier to use and it's easier to digest. All right, so I'm going to turn this guy back on for a minute, and we'll see what he's got to say.
I'm feeling pretty good about these 3 things happening.
I'll turn my mic
One, there's
off
a
so you
really
don't get
good
the
chance
echo.
that we're going to see a world war by the end of the decade, and it is going to drastically alter our way of life. I was just looking into some numbers for another presentation I have to give on Thursday night. And almost 20% of everything we import comes from China. Just over 40% of all US imports come from the Indo-Pacific region. Frankly, I'm not sure that there's enough maritime insurance in the world to keep those cargo ships in the water, those container ships up and running, and keep those goods flowing to the United States from these countries that are probably going to be embroiled in war. So at a minimum, there's going to be a severe strain on supply chains. And then almost another 20% of all of our imports come from European countries, which is probably going to be involved in this second front against Russia. And this is what these European NATO countries are saying. That's why they're passing these conscription and mandatory military service laws right now. So that's at least 60% of all U.S. imports that originate outside the Western Hemisphere. And that's a lot of stuff that's going to disappear from store shelves and not come back for a while, maybe. It's going to be far worse than the supply chain disruption that we saw in 2020 and into 21 and into 22. And it's going to last much longer. It's going to be highly inflationary. We're not going to be able to afford a lot of these things, even if we do get them here. So if you look at, especially, this is a big one, critical life-saving imports like pharmaceuticals and medical equipment, most of that stuff comes from China. So imagine a world where that stuff gets cut off to zero, that no more imports from China. So I go back to my three things: an area study, a local intelligence network, and real-time intelligence collection capabilities. Those things are going to help us out tremendously when we have to navigate these conditions, especially our area study, because that's going to help us to find alternative sources for the things that we need. A local intelligence network can alert us to a lot of things, like when a certain part gets restocked or where certain items are that we need and that we can obtain. That's the first thing. A world war is really going to be very disruptive to our way of life. The second thing here is that there's a good chance that we actually lose this world war. And this has empire-ending implications. And I'm sure most of you are already familiar with the work of Sir John Glubb. There's a book there on the left. It's called The Fate of Empires. He wrote it back in the 1970s. He was a British intelligence officer during World War II. And what he found was that empires on average last 250 years. And I'm not going to quibble on some of these dates, but I think that is a good rule of thumb. We can look at the work of Rain Tagapera, who's an Estonian political scientist who arrived. I did the math. He wrote a paper about this, and I did the math, and he found that empires last something like 2.65 centuries. So 265 years was really close to Glubb's 250 years. Ray Dalio has also written about this. He did a big study for a book called Principles for Navigating the Changing World Order. And I think it's a good rule of thumb. If you want to start that 250-year clock from 1776, we arrive 250 years later at 2026. I think a more accurate number is 1783. That's the end of the American Revolution. It's the Treaty of Paris, which unlocked Trans-Appalachia to U.S. expansion. That was in 1783. You add 250, we get 2033. Just by this one indicator, I never wanted to draw strong conclusions from a single indicator because, it's not like these empires have exact expiration dates, give or take a generation, probably in the ballpark. But we are living through this. And then there was another study that coincides about the same time frame that I want to talk about.
Hey guys, if you get bored of this guy, let me know and we'll find something else. I don't want to be like, hey, this is the movie channel, that kind of thing.
That's the end of the US dollar as the world reserve currency for a number of reasons, and we can talk about that later. But historically, currencies, and this is according to JP Morgan, currencies as the world reserve last for 80 to 100 years. So Bretton Woods back in 1944 established the US dollar as the world reserve. 1944 plus 80 is 2024. You had 100 years, you get 2044. So these two time frames are coinciding, which I think adds a little bit more credence to this whole argument. And so we're in this ballpark already. We're pretty darn close. So my question is, how do we navigate a national crisis when or if the dollar is in free fall? How do we navigate what's probably hyperinflation in this scenario and all the political and social and economic follow-on effects at the local level? Because that's the stuff that we need to plan for. That's the stuff that we can deal with. So I go back to my three things and I say an area study, a local intelligence network, and real-time intelligence collection capabilities. Those things are going to help us out tremendously when we have to navigate these conditions. And then finally, if we do fight and lose a third world war and we lose the dollar as the world reserve, then the collapse of the American empire goes right along with it. And my guess is that this results in some kind of political restructuring of the United States. And I think this is one of the few ways that we actually get a national divorce, even though it may be very painful, may actually get a proper revolution here. This chart is from Ray Dalio, his great book called Principles for Dealing with the Changing World Order. I don't care for his politics, but the stuff that he writes about in this book is quite good. And this is the cycle that he sees for world orders. You start off with prosperity. You hit this big debt bubble. You have this big wealth gap, which we do have. And then you have a debt bust. and he studied dozens of world orders and empires. And then after this debt bust, you get this really calamitous cascade of events. You get money printing and credit. So I seriously doubt the worst of our money printing has happened. We talk about $34 trillion in national debt, and then another 170, 190, $200 trillion in unfunded liabilities. There's no way we're going to cut that out of our budgets. You can't tax that out of the system. You're going to have to print a lot of money. And so that is coming. And then according to Ray Dalio's study of history, then you get revolutions and wars, you get debt restructuring, you get political restructuring, and then finally you have this new world order, which in his case, he believes is China. And you read about the history of these collapses, whether it's political collapse or social or economic collapse, and they're just brutal. I mean, lawlessness, raping and pillaging, street violence, famine and starvation, just really brutal conditions in some of these worst case scenarios. And you look at like balkanization and stuff, like Yugoslavia, horrific. And so I look at my town and I wonder how we're going to cope with these things. What is that going to do to race relations? I live in an area, my town is pretty diverse, the broader area.
Go ahead and pause that there. And the reason is because Light Raider is saying that, there's nothing to replace the dollar currently. And maybe I wasn't clear. Basically, internationally, BRICS has gained traction, and nationally, the CBDCs are planned. And Light Raider is not talking CBDCs. I mean, another country. Well, so if you're talking about currency, like the reserve currency, BRICS is positioned to become a reserve currency, and in a way that is very different because BRICS allows nation states to move money around in their own currency. It's not like BRICS would be the ruble. It's not like BRICS would be the yuan. BRICS, the BRICS system allows nations to move currency or move money in their own currency. So it's not like there would be like like Saudi Arabia would take over as the world's reserve currency. It's not like that. That's not the way the BRICS plans work. I think they're up to 31 or 39 nations now that have signed on to it. And they're literally just waiting for some kind of focal point, a spark to say, okay, this is all real now. I want to say like there was something I read last week that said that right now 67% of the money that is moving between China and Russia is in the yuan. So they're paying Russians with their currency and back and forth. That's the way the BRICS setup works. So there would not be a reserve currency as we know it now. And hopefully that answered your or gave you some ideas, Light Raider. All right, let's go and push play and see what else this guy's what else nonsense this guy's yapping about. And we're not going to do a lot of this because it's kind of boring.
Because I live in Central Texas, and we do have a lot of Hispanics here. And then in the city, we do have a lot of blacks, and then everyone else is white. What is that going to do to the urban-rural divide? And who among these people that surround me are going to pose a real threat, whether that's through organized crime or ad hoc gang warfare, when social cohesion evaporates? Because that is probably one of the most key lessons from history, is that cultural uniformity is the basis for social cohesion. And when cultural uniformity degrades, you get social disintegration in the literal sense. Society becomes disintegrated from each other. And then we get stuff like civil wars and low-intensity conflicts and tribalized warfare, which we already have in the United States. And so these are just the potential conditions that really concern me. So I go back to my three things: an area study, a local intelligence network, and then real-time intelligence collection capabilities. And those are the things that I really want to have up and running when I'm forced to navigate these conditions. And so that sets the stage for the rest of my presentation tonight. As always, please do post your questions into the chat. If I can answer those right away, I will. Otherwise, we'll save them for the Q&A portions. And I think Q&A probably is the best part of this. I really enjoy that. So if you do have any questions, be as specific or as general as you want. You've got me for the rest of the evening, and I'm here to help. I do just want to run through a couple of quick slides here. This is from, I think it's a 2018 National Defense Strategy. The Joint Force, meaning the Joint Military Force, can no longer assume the homeland is a sanctuary. This is our military admitting this several years ago. Back in December 2020, the Army published a facility security report, and they wrote that adversaries will subject the continental U.S. to anti-access efforts by conventional and unconventional means, including but not limited to cyber attacks, fomenting protests, and criminal activity. Really, they're talking about transnational criminal activity here. And then they continue, they'll use sophisticated ISR networks to target military installations and soft targets associated with friendly forces, including private sector organizations, civilian infrastructure, institutional Army and joint target space capabilities, and service members' families. And again, this is not prepperdoom.com. This is the Army admitting this stuff. And I think it is reasonable to expect that exactly this is going to happen. So my big promise tonight is that if you stick around to the end, you're going to walk away with some knowledge, some action steps. Some of you, this is going to radically change how you think about preparedness. And you are going to be able to take action on these things starting tonight to improve your situation in the near future. Now,
All right, so he's starting to get a little preachy. I don't think I want to watch that anymore. Let's see here, large screen. Boop, make that go away. All right, guys, let's go ahead and put some stuff in the chat and let me know what you want to talk about tonight. Um, Obviously, I'll be looking for you to be engaged. Looks like Big Prepper's got something for us already. Is my microphone? My microphone is on. So, something weird is going on with eBay and items from Ukraine. I've seen a lot of posts of cheap Chinese garbage upselling for 10 times the value, and it is getting purchased. Laundering, scamming. Yeah, that is kind of weird. That is kind of weird. I'm not an eBay guy, so I wouldn't even know. I wouldn't even know where to look, to be honest with you. Um, that is that is that is a little weird, my friend. Let me go ahead and roll this back over here so I can look at the chat while you guys do what you're doing. Looks like no, actually, it looks like the chat's pretty active over there. Let's see here. There's been like some there's been a lot of weird stuff going on politically. I live on eBay. Well, I mean, I'm sure there's some neat stuff on eBay, but I don't think eBay is what it is, or what it used to be, you know. Um, I don't know. I think the idea behind the whole bidding on stuff, or you can just like instant buy, you know, it's like you just shut everybody up. It's like it's mine, you know. Um, I don't know. It just lost its luster for me, and then especially with the all the con artists that were operating on it on in the mid '90s, and then the what was it? What was it? It's not Dave's List. There's another website that you can like buy and sell and trade stuff on. It's some kind of list. Somebody put it in the chat. You guys know what I'm talking about. We sell car parts on eBay. I got you. It was really just a protest to Amazon. I got you, man. I got you. So what was the name of that? What's the name of that list? Craigslist. There you go. I don't even know if that's still a thing. Is Craigslist still a thing? Craigslist. Craigslist is, yes, that's why. That's why a lot of people don't do it anymore because Craigslist is so dangerous. We got a Craigslist sites. Oh yeah, they got all that stuff here too, video. And I know you can do it like by state, but we got here antiques. We got here general heavy motorcycles. No, automobiles. Is that how they're doing it? Auto parts, aviation, cars and trucks. I need a van. I need a van. I need to make a prepper van. But a lot of businesses, like reputable business, also list. They have people that they pay to do nothing but list stuff. You can do it by city. Yeah, I just found the closest one. And so I'm looking at vans. Vans are extremely expensive right now. I don't know why they are. It's just crazy. It's like like V8 gasoline, and it's got like 250,000 miles on it. They want like 7, 8 grand for it. And that's just crazy stupid. Absolutely stupid. I was even thinking about maybe a cargo truck. I have a lot of ideas. A lot of ideas. Uh 92. Well, that's a good price. Oh, excuse me. I gotta look at that. I gotta look at that. That's not a bad price. They don't say 8 cylinders, rear-wheel drive, 153,000 miles. Tire status is clean. It's got an automatic transmission in it, 8 cylinders. Hmm. Interesting. Let's see here. Where's my button here? See, this thing is completely, my setup over on this side is completely raw. 100% raw. Um, let's do that right there. So that's what I'm looking at. I mean, it's ugly, but the numbers are good. You gotta get that 1980s. That's 1992 interior. It's bad. This is really bad. You got to roll the windows up by hand. I mean, I'd buy it. It's got a bed thing in it already. Look at that. It's got a bed thing in it already. Can't complain about that. This thing is like total prepper, hippie, whatever. It's already set up, man. I don't know. I don't know. But I mean, they only want 19 or $1,600 for it. That's not bad at all. It's, it's not bad at all. Gas cars go up because factory switches over to electric crap. I mean, yeah, there's some truth to that. There's some truth to that. But I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. All right, let's see. You know what news? Let's see what we got here. I loved watching. I found out today that Oprah spoke at the DNC conference yesterday, and she did an awful, awful job. I mean, she's like, Joe. Was really sad. It's very, very sad. Let's see. New something. The thing we cannot speak of. New something vaccine. What to know about efficacy, access, and cost. Let's see. Ukraine strikes airfield near Volgograd as Russia presses forward to Donetsk. And there's nothing like the news is even blah. The news is even bland. MIT news. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, the news is even bland. I don't even know what to say. The news is so bland. Put something in the chat here. Where are we at here? A couple of guys I listened to about cars and trucks said they are about to get a big reset because used car shops and even dealerships can't afford to hold the new ones. Yeah, absolutely. We went car shopping 2 weekends ago on a Saturday, and they had some of these used cars. They were just like, we went in and we found it was a Kia something. It was like a Kia station wagon, fully loaded, absolutely beautiful. They wanted $4,900 for it. We thought this is great. And we start to try and negotiate with the guy. He's like, he won't move off his number. And I'm thinking, what in the hell is going on here that a used car salesman doesn't have any wiggle room on a car? I think you just nailed it, Bradley. They don't have any room. They have cars on the lots they cannot sell because the prices are insane. They're all going to take a major loss when this thing breaks. Toyota has phased out all but one mechanical transmission, new production lines are all electric motors. That's all right. Did you happen to hear about the what was it what is it the it's not the Chevy Lightning. Oh, great. Now apparently my internet is not working right. We'll see how long this works. Um, I need to keep I need to keep something open so I can see what the hell's going on here. Yeah, it looks like I'm frozen up. No, that's not. Is that me? Hold on a second. Hold on a second here. Okay. But Ford has shut down its electric truck production line. That happened, I think Monday. They shut it down. They're just not making any money on electric trucks. Um, I had several conversations. I had several conversion vans when I was younger. I love party vans. Well, I want to make like a so I really do kind of like the idea of van life, but for me it's got to be something like I can do like preparedness. Like I can take like a year, 2 years worth of food with me somehow, some way. And I've got a plan, but it's like I'm trying to find the middle ground, and I don't just want to leap on one particular type of vehicle because I lose a capability when I do that. So it's very interesting. Um, God, I hate saying that. I really do. It just kind of bleh. My buddy bought a 22 Ford pickup and it had 7 miles on it. Wow. It's been sitting on the lot for a couple years now. Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy, man. Ford losing 5.5 billion on electrical division. Well, yeah, of course, because they all jumped in on this shit. They had the president come down and they rubbed each other's butts and said everything's going to be just fine. And yeah, not so much. Basically they talked Ford into doing it. They talked Ford into taking that leap of faith. And we've seen this before because you remember Obama and that battery company that was going to be the future. And if you know the name of the battery company, put it in the chat because I can't remember the name of it. I have Burisma on my mind, but I know that's not right. But yeah, they were supposed to be the battery company of the future and solar panels this and wind turbines that, and that whole company folded. They got like I want to say they got like $8 or $9 million out of the government for their startup, and the whole company just fell through. The only people who got rich were like the top three guys, and everybody else got fired. Let's see here. They can't afford to teach the customer how to do electric vehicles like Tesla, so they took a whopping in that field, a whooping in that field. Small RV, bud. I would love to get my hands on a Class C RV, um, but I don't think I would really enjoy it. Just there's mobility issues. If that's the case, I'll just buy a box truck and convert it. Ford stopped producing the cheap line of vehicles. That's due. No farmer wants an electric truck. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I don't think, I mean, there's actually like, if you guys know who Quick Dick McDick is, he is incredibly intelligent and talking about basically diesel, and he's hilarious too. But the guy just spits facts. Absolutely amazing what he can say about diesels. Matter of fact, I'm gonna find him. Let's see here, YouTube and here. They ruled what? The huge ruling that says machine guns are unconstitutional. That's oh, um quick Dick McDick. Let me see if I can find that video about diesel. It was about 6 months ago. Um, Shine your blue ball, Westfall, capital gains tax. Come on, come on. If I can just find this, it'd be really cool. Trudeau's grocery tax. That I don't think that's it. We may come back to that though. The guy's absolutely hilarious. I want to change, but don't know how. Where we at here? Getting into that. I think I'm thinking I'm getting close. Just stop oil. Oh, I think that might be it right there. I don't know. That doesn't look right. And I wish I was more prepared, but I don't. His titles are not clear. They're funny, but they're just not clear and make it easy to find stuff. All right, I'm giving up. All right, let's see here. Class B is the next level van conversion, a little smaller than a Class C, with all the goodies already in it. I don't want smaller. I want regular size. I'm thinking about getting like just so here's what I've been thinking. I've actually got a GMC 3500 that I gave to my son that I might take back and have a new engine put in it because the engine in it is shot. But and then basically have everything rebuilt on it, brakes, drivetrain, all that stuff. Just make it a generally neat truck. And the thing about it is it's a 3500 four-wheel drive, crew cab, 10-foot bed. It's a beast of a truck. And then I would either buy or make some sort of camper for the back bed. I mean that's a tremendous amount of space just on a truck. It would be monstrous. It'd be this beast. And then that would be like for like you could live in it, you can go camp in it, you could do all sorts of stuff if you wanted to. And then as far as supplies go, you just custom make a trailer that's just big enough to get a whole buttload of uh, 5-gallon buckets inside of it, and then you make it so that you can actually pop it up. It has a platform on the top, and then you could actually put another pop-up tent on top of that. You could put solar panels on it that could and put a battery system in it, and it would like run the refrigerator, all sorts of stuff. It's just neat ideas I have floating around in my head. Let's see. Guy in Canada bought a Tesla truck and it got delayed long enough that he produced his own electric semi truck, but he used a diesel generator to make it go further. Yeah, I think I know who you're talking about. It's a big blue truck, Brad. And I think he's all over YouTube with that thing. I've been thinking of buying one as a daily driver. If you go with a van, get a Ford with the Quigley 4x4 conversion, good shit. Yeah, I mean that's the magic van right there. That's the magic van. I'm thinking of buying a fifth wheel, pull behind, but I'll have to get a bigger truck. That's always the dilemma with trailers. You always end up needing a bigger truck because the standard 150 will get the job done for a little while, but it ain't gonna do it for very long. It ain't gonna do it for very long. God, I really wish I could find that video. It's so oh, this is 3 years ago. I've gone way too far back. Way too far back. This is just like last winter. Let's see here. What is sage or silage? The fertilizer ban. Just stop oil. I don't think that's it.
Warning, sometimes Cryptic uses profane language in his abstraction. Any of the materials that we need for critical infrastructure, and none of the materials that we need to sustain any of our healthcare systems around the world, etc., etc., etc. You then have to start outsourcing your needs for oil and gas to shape. Just stop oil shirts. Now, I'd love Oh, hey, can somebody please tell me why we spend any time whatsoever on sticking these? PC went on a cuss fest on an open mic on the government's inaction on.
That's not it. That is not it. Let's see here. Wife needs a large home to get her out into the woods. She's 100% a city slicker. Yeah, I mean, you know, there was a time well, I've got an RV. I've got a big ass fucking RV. But it's just sitting in a storage lot right now because it needs tires and hydraulics need to be worked on. And I got one of those damn automatic parking brakes, the ones that clamp down on the drive shaft, and that needs some work. It won't frickin' let go of the drive shaft. But anyway, so it needs work. But I just don't want to be driving around this giant 35-foot thingamabob. You know what I'm saying? And you know, contemplated getting it all fixed up and then living on the road for the rest of our lives. But at the time, the wife just she was like, "I need a place to call home. I need a place for my kids to come, you know, for Christmas." And I was like, "They're grown. They're out. Why don't we go to their house for Christmas?" "No, it's not the same." And I was like, "Okay, whatever." So that idea just got, you know, um, my classic C is the 26 bumper to bumper, and it goes and fits anywhere. I got you. That sounds awesome. That sounds awesome, man. Let's see here. You know what? I'm gonna prepper. Let me type prepper into the search engine on the old YouTubes and see what shows up. 2024 elections 2 days ago. Gates of Hell. Stealth Quonset Villa. How much did it cost? The bunker. New preppers get this first. That's so stupid. Oh, excuse me. Always do this first. Do that first. Like, whatever. You know, I haven't seen anything from Survivalist Prepper for years. I think he went off of YouTube completely. Yeah, 3 months ago. 3 months ago, he hasn't been on YouTube. 35 foot isn't bad, but I'm using a total around of 53. Yeah, it doesn't bother you, Bradley. I mean, I drove the damn thing. I drove it to Florida and back. Didn't have a problem with it. It's great out on the open roads, and I mean, you get used to it after a while. It's just not super mobile, you know. I mean, did you marry my ex? No, I didn't marry your ex, bro. So you know what? I have not seen Survivalist Prepper in forever. And I know he's probably doing his own thing. Rumble. Let's see if he's over on Rumble. Did you marry my ex? It's the story of my life. All right, Survivalist Prepper. 2 days ago, things are going to get bad. Do this before it does. Okay, so he made a video. Let's see what Survivalist Prepper's saying is bad. Let's get you. I don't want to be stingy here. Let's there we go. Got to adjust this a bit. Sorry, I don't have anything preset. All right, let's hit play and see what happens.
Now, I am no prepping Nostradamus. I am not the guy to say that if you're not preparing now, it's too late, so don't even bother.
Dale's his name.
Or there's going to be a disaster or something happening in the next month or so, so you need to get ready now. I've been doing this for long enough to know that we really just have no idea. But it sure seems like there are a lot of possibilities coming in the next few months that we really need to be paying attention to. You've got the bird flu that seems to be picking up steam. You've got the inflation and the government spending, which seems like it's just completely out of control. You've got global conflicts. You've got the things going on in Europe, the Middle East, and Taiwan. And then to top all of that off, you've got the election at the end of the year, where regardless who wins could cause all sorts of different problems. And like I said, I've been prepping for a while, and I don't think I remember any time where there was this all-you-can-eat buffet of disaster scenarios that could happen, where you're not sure which direction to look. So in this video, what I want to talk about is what we should be working on in the coming months to prepare as much as possible, regardless what happens. Now, before we get into those, I do briefly want to cover some of the things that are a concern to me moving forward. The first one, and this is one that is always on at the very top of my list, is the economy. Inflation is through the roof, and regardless of what numbers the government gives you, and regardless of what they say about it's getting better or getting worse, it is absolutely horrible. You can see in this picture right here, and you may have seen this around the internet, but these are prices at fast food places. Now, I don't eat a lot of fast food, but what this picture tells you is how much prices are increasing. Yes, these corporations will try to nickel and dime and get every penny they can, but as prices rise on products, the price on the food that they sell rises as well. So this is indicative of a much bigger picture on prices around the globe, not just fast food places. So even though the mainstream media and everyone likes to tell you things are getting better, it's still not good. It may be less bad than it used to be, but it's still bad, and it could get even worse. So that's something that I am definitely looking at, is the economic factors that play a role in all of this. Also, you've got the global conflicts. And again, this sort of goes back to the economics, but I don't see this affecting us here at home, what's going on in Europe, what's going on in China or the Middle East, but it could have economic repercussions, and it could have repercussions down the line, just like you've seen with some of these other conflicts. The next one is a little bit concerning right now, and that is the pandemic 2.0, and I've got to be careful what I say here, but this seems like it's awful coincidental, the timing of this. And if they try to pull the same things that they pulled last time, my hope is that it won't work, but we may need to expect those types of things to happen. And then the final one, you've got the stuff coming up in November, which I think is a lose-lose situation, unfortunately. And this is just my opinion, but if one side loses, one side or the other side is going to be extremely upset, and who knows what happens because of that. If, in my opinion, if one side wins, we continue on with the slide that we're in. We're losing our freedoms and completely change the landscape of this country. If the other side wins, it could mean the cracks start showing in this corrupt Washington machine and everything starts falling apart. So I think that regardless, one way or the other, the way they've got this system set up, we as American people lose in the end. And from a global perspective, I think a lot of countries are following the same path the United States is right now. So it seems like there is change inevitable. It's just how does everything unfold, and how far do the people allow this to go? So with that, like I said, I am going to go into more detail about these later on. I don't want to spend the whole video talking about these. There's just so many different things that could happen in the coming months that, yes, we need to pay attention to them, but it's more important that we prepare for these, and that's what I want to talk about today. And the first couple are the main ones we should have already anyway, and that is your food and your water storage. Now, while water storage is always important, I don't foresee any sort of disaster situation unless it's a Mother Nature type thing or cyber attack, something like that. But I don't see the water supply getting shut off. I don't foresee the grid going down, like I said, unless one of these other things happen. So the water storage, while it is important, isn't one of those on the top of my list. The food storage, however, is on the top of my list, and that is just because of the prices. You never know with the things that could go on, whether you're talking about pandemic 2.0, you're talking about civil unrest because of the elections,
You know what?
things
I
like
want to
that.
talk about something real quick. I always tell you guys about water, food, and security. And I was literally like thinking this morning that I'm really glad that I never had to bug out. Um, because my bug out plan was to get back to North Carolina on foot if necessary. And I started thinking to myself, had I actually planned out enough like knowing where enough water sources were. And I realized that there was a large stretch of land where there was almost no fresh water. And then I just remember thinking to myself, man, I'm so glad I never had to do that. Um, but I mean, there's still the distance between here and the property in North Carolina. So I've got to come up with something. I've got to figure out something. Now there's enough infrastructure in between here and there where I could probably get water. But if it were ever a situation where that infrastructure didn't exist anymore between here and there, or it was just like the source became tainted or unusable, then I would really be screwed. And I can't believe Dale just made a video saying that he's not really concerned about water, or he doesn't really store enough water, because all that food is useless without it. Hmm. I live in a farm country. Everyone is in bed by 2100 hours. I got you. Man, my eyes are really like allergy type itching. All right, let's see what else he's yapping on about here.
Supply lines getting cut off or shortages, things like that. Conflicts around the world, meaning supplies are short. You just never know. And at the very least, prices will be going up. They have gone up for the last few years, and they will continue to go up. They've gone up more than normal in the last few years, and I think they're going to continue to go up. So the more we can hedge our bets on that, the more we can stockpile food, the better off we are going to be if it does get to that point. So even if you're one of those people that think that having enough food to last a year or 2 years is sort of overkill, in a situation like this, it doesn't mean that food is going to be unavailable for 2 years or a year. It just means you're going to be able to have that to draw on if things do get bad. And the more you have, the longer you're going to be able to do that, or the more often you're going to be able to do that. So my suggestion is start building up as much as you possibly can and get the things while they're cheaper right now or on sale, and get those things to help just in case things do go sideways in the next few months. The next thing I'm working on is fuel storage. And while it's impossible to store enough fuel that you would use in a year or even a couple months, we do need to have a few 5-gallon jugs, or maybe even 5 to 10 of these 5-gallon jugs with a little bit of extra fuel. Now, what I do is take these fuel jugs and put them in my garage, number them 1 through 10, and then I will take the oldest one, I will put that in my truck, take that with me to the gas station, and refill that. You can put some fuel stabilizer in there, or once a month or so, twice a month, you can take one of those jugs, fill up your automobile, and you'll rotate through those fast enough. The reason why this helps is when the gas prices go completely out of control, you have some of that maybe lower cost.
You mean I got to say that all over again? Mike, 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 Mike. What day is it? Thank you guys. I often forget this stupid little thing. I try to mute the mic so that you guys don't have to listen to the echo of the videos. but then I think I turn it on, but then I don't. So what I was saying is that I often think to myself that, obviously bugging in should be your first choice because that's where all your stuff is. And then, have a plan to leave if you have to, have a plan to go someplace that you know of that's identified, not just, hey, let's go into the woods, because that's like the last ditch thing. Um, but having that plan to go someplace else is always a great backup plan. And the reality is that if you could be in a place where your plan is to bug out because you know that where you are is so bad. For instance, if you lived in a city, if you lived in a city and all hell broke loose and it's like, hey, this is going to last for a while. There's not a cop on the streets. People are just going crazy, setting crap on fire. There's no fire department. It's time to go. And having someplace to go outside the city would likely be your plan, should be your plan, because these people that think they're going to stay in the city, they're just going to live in hell forever, how long they survive. They're just going to live in hell. So, like old times. What, my mic? It's like old times when I forget to turn the damn microphone on and go on for minutes before somebody says something. And oddly, if my phone wasn't connected to the Discord, I wouldn't even know you were messaging me, Bradley, because I don't have enough window. I don't have enough computer screens to see everything all at once. So I'm in the woods. I got you. I got you. Hey, listen, I'm perfectly comfortable in the woods. The ticks would be absolutely awful this time of year, but I'm perfectly comfortable. I'm still mulling over that idea, guys, that you wanted me to like grab my bug out bag and go for a weekend in the woods and just film the whole thing. I'm still down. I'm still down, but the schedule is just so packed right now. I made between shorts, like YouTube shorts, live shorts, live streams, and members only videos and Patreon videos, and gear review or gear or product videos. I made 21 videos in the last 28 days. So, man, if you're not a member, I don't know. I mean, hopefully you all here are members. I don't know. I did push this out to the Patreons because the Patrons are still going to be in that zone of safety until November. So, if you're not a member yet, get your butt over. I'm seeing lots of little squares, so I'm pretty sure the people here are members. So I'm not concerned. I'm not concerned. But it is what it is. Tell your friends, that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so we've been doing this for just over an hour and 2 minutes. I'm sorry I wasn't as prepared as I normally am with multiple subjects to talk about. But like I said, we've got let's see, this weekend is all about getting ready to go up to the Richmond area, actually west of Richmond, for a work-related trip for like 3 days. And then after that, out into the woods out near the Appalachian Trail for about 3 days to do some hiking and live in some really weird places. And then we're going to drive back on Sunday, and then hopefully Monday, I will have my trash in one bag. So some of the videos may be shorter than normal, but I do plan on, based on the amount of internet that I have where I'm at, I should be able to do live streams Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Um, I don't know about Wednesday for sure, but Monday and Tuesday are definite locks. I should be able to do live streaming from where I am, and then what is it? And then Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. That's all vacation, so don't expect anything. But you never know. You never know. I think that kind of stuff is really, really neat. So no need to boo to the woods. My house cannot get any more in the woods. I got you, bro. I got you. I love that crap. When I started doing this YouTube thing, we lived in the woods. We lived in an old trailer made in like the 1960s. And we loved it. We had a wraparound porch and we were in the woods, man. I mean, just in the woods. And it was absolutely just a great time. Let's see here. Just got to yap at just got to yap at. It's been good talking with y'all. Have a great weekend. I'm off tomorrow, taking the wife to get steroid shots in her neck, hoping this works. Oh, for the pain. I got you, bro. Well, hopefully it does too. Everybody, if you do the praying thing, give Bradley some prayers for his wife. And we're going to go ahead and call it because I'm running out of stuff to yammer on about. I just want to let you guys know what was going on my side of the world and what you can expect in the future. All right, guys, stay safe. Have a great day, and I shall see you when I see you, which should be tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Also, take a look at that video I dropped today. It's available to everybody now about that product that guy sent me to what is it for to protect your cellular devices as well as your credit cards. It's a lot better than the plastic coated ones I keep finding. It's really cool. All right, guys, we'll talk to y'all later. Bye bye.